but that does mean I need to completely revise the previous chapter again. And I'm awkward and weird enough. I don't need to add to that. So this means I have 5 chapters left though. I have so many feelings. And I feel like a mess. I'm supposed to have everything figured out at this point in the story, and I just don't. I need to get to work. Okay, we're trying things a little bit differently, and by differently, I mean I'm trying to be more conscious, more cognizant of planning out my stuff. Like, I'm trying to put more effort into planning out the parts where I sit down and talk to you guys. So I'm having to cut out less. That's the goal. That is the legitimate goal. Make it easier to edit, and probably, hopefully, a better experience for you guys. Anyway, welcome. It is the final week of July. Today is July 27th, and I have 7 chapters left to finish this book. That is honestly huge. I am so excited. I made it to the start of the climax. We are at graduation day. The first scene that I'm going to be working on today is them waiting in line for the graduation ceremony. That's huge. I'm so excited that we are at this point where this is almost done. I have 7 chapters and 11 scenes to finish. So I'm going to try to average about 2 scenes every day. But a couple of those scenes near the end are ones that will be brand new, so parts of it will be easier than other parts. Most of these scenes don't require a whole lot of work, so I think it will go pretty well. But there are just a couple where it requires more work. And the biggest issue that we've hit so far in this recording is that I didn't introduce myself at the part where I'm supposed to introduce myself. So, hi. Welcome. If you're new here, my name is Dana, and under the name D.L. Pitchford, I publish unapologetically honest stories with real characters. And this book is the final book in my debut series. It is a coming-of-age literary fiction slow burn romance. Like, the romance is spread out over mostly 3 books, because they're together in this book. This is book 4. But it is a true slow burn romance, but it's literary or upmarket in that it does not follow romance genre tropes, or story structure, I should say. But this follows my main character, Billy, as she goes through 4 years of college. This is her senior year, and we are to graduation day. So this is truly the culmination of all of her time there and all 4 of these books. We are on the precipice of something beautiful, and I'm thrilled. Okay, looking at my notes to try to keep me on track. My current word count is 114,065 words. That is just shy of 10,000 words less than the previous draft, but I still have 14,000 words that need revised and expanded. So this will definitely go over 130,000. It's a lot, but as the final book in the series, this makes sense. I have 46 out of 53 chapters done, 7 remaining, and 80 out of 91 scenes done, 11 remaining. So aside from finishing those last few things, there are a couple parts that I know I still want to go back and tweak. Some of this I have kind of started, but I need to figure out how exactly I want to change stuff to make it work better. I'm not sure the best way to achieve what I want yet, so some of that I might not get to in this draft, but we'll see. So aside from finishing this draft, my general plans for the video are pretty minimal. We're just going to have a fun, chill time trying to finish this book by the end of the month, which is also the end of this week. So as far as specific plans for today, since I'm trying to do at least one chapter a day and aim for about 2 scenes a day, but today I specifically want to work on chapter 47. This is a chapter that needs more work than a lot of the ones after it, but honestly doesn't need all that much work. The first scene is going to be relatively easy. I don't know if there's much of anything I will change. Scene 2, however, desperately needs flushed out. That is a scene that takes place after the ceremony, so it's everyone coming together, and there are definitely some people that I want to be there that were not in the previous draft, so I need to add in some characters. And then there's a moment that Billy has with her dad that makes sense to be here. It makes perfect sense why I wrote it here. But story-wise, I think it would hit harder if it happened later, like at the end of the day, so immediately after all of the climax, as like a nice little bow on all of the emotional things that happen in this day. So that means I have to rearrange some stuff, and part of what I need to do today is figure out how exactly I'm going to go about that. And if I'm able to do all of that in a timely fashion, I might take a peek at the next chapter. I might not. Realistically, with how long these scenes that I've revised have taken, I doubt that I will be able to move on to the next chapter. But we'll see. Okay, I finished the first scene in chapter 47. I added 69 words. Fun. It did not change a whole lot. I made some minor adjustments, which was mostly adding in a character that wasn't there. It's not a character that really says a whole lot, so adding her in was pretty easy. And then I had to adjust some, like, timeline sort of stuff, because the previous draft had the scene take place right after a couple scenes before it, and now there's, like, a week in between, so very different. The next scene is a little over 1,100 words. It needs a decent amount of work. I'm not really sure how I'm going to fix some of the things that I know need fixed. This scene, because of what it is very reflective. Billy's reflecting on her time throughout college and how much things have changed since the beginning, because this is the scene like right after the graduation ceremony. That's kind of where your head is. I don't know if I want to keep all of that stuff there, or if I want to postpone it until after more stuff has happened, until after the actual climax. Either can make sense, so I think I can get it to work no matter what. It's just what serves the story better here. And, like, do I want to emphasize all of Billy's anxiety from the graduation ceremony, and even at this point to an extent being the center of attention? Or is she just, like, really focused on stuff and, like, working through it. For me, aside from the part of, like, having to walk across the stage, that was completely nerve-wracking, and I spent so much time beforehand going, oh, please don't screw this up, don't trip, don't... whatever, you have to do the specific, okay, shake hands and accept it with this other hand and move the tassel and da-da-da. And it's like, okay, I have to make sure I have to get these, like, 3 steps right, or it will be horribly embarrassing. I don't think the embarrassing part is something that would be an issue for Billy, though, so... But she doesn't want attention drawn to her. I know in this moment there will definitely be a sense of relief that the ceremony is over, everything is official, but there is also still the adrenaline going from everything that has just happened, and the knowledge of what is to come. Like, for her, specifically, for her and Xander, in this moment, the stressful stuff is not over just because the graduation ceremony has ended. They still have all the stuff with his parents to deal with, not to mention, like, the other characters and what's going on. So I do think the reflective aspect of this, I want to minimize it some and move the bulk of that to later. And we'll see how that goes. I don't know. I took a little break, and now I'm ready to dive into the next scene and see how I can get this to work better. It is 3:45, and this chapter is done. It is a little rougher than I thought it would be. And part of that is because, although I added in all the little tidbits of stuff that I know that it needs, there were more characters that I wanted to be there, more interactions, and I needed to change the order that some of those interactions happened in. But there is something else that I am considering changing, and the more I think about it, the more I lean into doing that, but that's not a change that is only for this scene. That adjusts previous chapters and future chapters, so there are like 2 main changes, and there's no way to talk about these without either giving everything away or being as vague as possible. But there is something that comes up in chapter 50 that I'm considering moving to much earlier in the book. And I'm not going to make a final decision on that until my critique partner reads the whole draft and we're able to talk about stuff and figure out what would work better. Like, which version of this is the one that makes the story the best version of itself. So there's that, and how that plays out affects the other thing I'm considering changing, which I did already make some minor adjustments to this change. There is a character who has been hinted at throughout the book, and the character was finally here. And so Billy doesn't know how to react, but it's so hard to talk about this. But basically, she saw the character in this scene, and this was the first time that she actually is certain that she saw them. There have been moments where the character has been there before this, but it's like Billy catches a glimpse and she's not sure if she saw what she thinks she saw. I don't know. There's something that happens a few chapters before this that I'm considering changing. And I'm just not sure the best way for this aspect of the story to play out, and I don't think I'll really know that until I finish the next few chapters and read the whole thing again. And then I think I'll have a better understanding of what I want to happen here. Both of these changes, even though they would be like major changes for the characters, it also wouldn't really change that much story-wise. Not like in a big way. It would be very minor things changing, honestly. So I don't know. I still have stuff to think about, and I'm frustrated that I don't have this figured out yet. That I am, like 85 or more percent of the way through this draft, and I still have things that I haven't figured out. I'm supposed to have everything figured out at this point in the story, and I just don't. But it's fine. It's fine. Like, at the point I am in this book, if I were at this point in the previous books, I did generally have everything figured out. Or most everything. And, to be fair, it's probably not as bad as I think it is. Like, this scene that I just finished feels really, really rough. But probably, if I were to reread it, it's not as bad as I think it is. It just feels so Frankenstein together because of having to rearrange stuff, and let's insert this character here and this one here, and it's also just like a moment in time where you're not able to like focus on a whole bunch at once. It's like, oh, I have to talk to this person really quick, and then I have to talk to this person really quick, and then this person, and then this person, and it's very jarring, but it would be in the moment, so it makes sense. Anyway, so it is going on 4, and I am done for the day. 6 chapters left now. And the next few chapters should not be as difficult. They should be relatively easy. So I'm hoping that I'm able to get through 2 of those chapters tomorrow. We'll see though, because I am live streaming in the morning. I am live streaming by myself. Oh, that's something I still need to do today. I'll do that this evening, is set up the live stream and get all of that stuff ready to go. Tonight I will be making dinner, spending time with my family, prepping for the live stream in the morning, and doing some reading. And we will check in later. Hey guys, it's Tuesday now. It's, the 28th, I think? I recorded absolutely nothing last night. I also didn't even remember that I needed to set up the live stream, so I set it up like 2 minutes before I started this morning, and that was fine. The live stream was good. I am really happy with the little drabble that I wrote. It was a cute little, cute isn't the right word, actually. It is, it's the drabble about a vampire feeding. So, I enjoyed it though. I'm quite happy with how it turned out. But I'm also pretty tired still. It's afternoon now. My live stream ended like an hour and a half ago. And so I need to work on the actual book, the book that I need to finish. That needs to be written now. I am at chapter 48. I would like to get through chapters 48 and 49 today, but as long as I get through chapter 48, then that's, the minimum. 48 should not be that difficult. I know there are a few tweaks, but not nearly as many as a lot of the other things I have done, a lot of the other chapters that I've worked on. Chapter 49, though, that one needs a decent amount of work because there are moments from previous scenes that I'm now moving here. Like some of the interactions between Billy and Xander's mom are getting moved here. So some of the stuff that I cut way from the last vlog, from that midpoint, they'll get moved here. Chapter 49 is a little bit wonky. It's a little bit wonky, and I need to sew together the parts and make some general adjustments. But we're not there yet. We do chapter 48 first, and this one should be relatively simple. There are definitely a lot of small tweaks, but they are all pretty small. So I'm going to actually get into that, and maybe I'll do better about recording more throughout the day today. Probably not. Today is a pretty slow, chill day. I'll be working on these chapters, and then beyond that, I won't be doing a whole lot today. So, I don't know. But I'm going to drink more of my coffee and start working on chapter 48. Make this a little better than it is. Chapter 48 is done. There wasn't a whole lot of work that it needed, a lot of minor tweaking and like changing the wording of some things, especially like how I'm referring to some people. It was relatively quick. That took me about an hour, and there were definitely some pauses in there, so not too bad as far as like the time put into that. So it is 1:15ish, and I am going to mark that off on my list here and work on the next one. Chapter 49 will require a lot more work. I have what was like the previous draft, the version was 2,300 words. The document is now sitting at around 3,100, and that's just because of adding the clips from previous parts that are going to get moved here. We'll see how it turns out when I, sew all of those pieces together and make those changes. I'm very excited, though. This means I have 5 chapters left, though. That's crazy. It is 3:40 now, and I am most of the way through this chapter. I just finished, like, the first section, but the first section is, like, 2/3 of the chapter, so I'm debating whether I should actually do the last 1,000 words, and I don't know how much I want to change in this section. I don't have a whole lot in the notes. In fact, I don't have anything explicitly for this section in the notes. But I also know when I was writing it that I was anxious about, like, it all just kind of spewed out and isn't particularly refined, but also I'm not necessarily trying to refine it in this draft. I'm mostly trying to make sure everything is exactly how it should be. Everything is happening how it should be. So I don't know. I think I'm going to go over it, and then if I decide that it is more work than I can manage right now, in the amount of time I have now, then I'll work on it tomorrow along with the next chapter or two. So I'm going to try for it, and we'll see. Ta-da! 4 chapters left, 7 scenes left. I'm so close to finishing this. And also, let me just say, I'm a little bit annoyed that this damn chapter, it took me an hour and a half or something like that to finish, like, the middle point of the chapter. Like, if I were to, it's 3,300-ish words. If I were to divide that into 3 parts, the middle part took me at least an hour and a half. This last part, the final third, took me 10 minutes. It's one of those things where I know it definitely still needs work. It does. But the bulk of what's there is solid. I tweaked a couple small things, but overall, it's good, and it is not nearly as rough as I thought it was while I was writing it, because it's an argument, so the just, like, spewing it out really worked in, like, the favor of the story. So, it works well. What it's really missing is action. Like, physical movements. It's mostly just talking and yelling. To be fair, like, they're walking really quickly, and, like, Billy is chasing Imogene, following Imogene. Chasing isn't the right word. So it works, and I feel like adding too much of the action would take away from the actual argument. It's meant to be very fast-paced, and it's mostly dialogue. And I think that works, but I probably need other feedback on that at some point. I'm so excited for the next chapter, though, and I am mad that I don't have time to work on it. Because the next chapter is, like, the end of the climax. The 2 chapters I worked on today are, like, those 2, and the next one are the climax. So I want to be working on the next one, and I just can't. I do want to think more about what I want to add in to the end of the next chapter, because I definitely want to, like, flesh out the ending after everything with Xander and his parents kind of blows up. I want to expand what comes after and, like, have her dad there. I want her dad to be there, and he's not in that scene, like, at all. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna add that in, and that's a tomorrow thing that I don't get to work on yet, and it's fine. Everything's fine. I need to actually eat. All I've had so far is yogurt, and it's 4 o'clock, and lots of coffee and some lemon water. Yeah, I need actual sustenance. So yes, 4 chapters left, 7 scenes. 2 of those are ones that I will need to write completely brand new, but for the most part, the rest of these will be relatively easy fixes, aside from what I want to add on to the next chapter. So I think that one I will switch from being labeled as minor changes to major changes, because that will cause some adjustments. That's the bulk of what we're working on today. I need to do some admin work. I'll probably take my laptop upstairs and do a little bit of that kind of stuff. But aside from that, today has been a success. Oh, word count. Total word count right now, 122,726 words. I still have probably around 8,000 words to revise. So this is going to be over 130,000, especially since that's not including the chapter I have to write brand new. And some of these will probably still get expanded. So that's how it's going. I am so excited. I'm feeling like very energized about this project. And I know a lot of that is we're at the climax, so things are naturally more exciting. But I love this book so much. It's still a mess, to be clear. It really, really is. Especially that section after the midpoint, which I wasn't vlogging during all of that, but the section after the midpoint is probably now the weakest part of the book. And it's fine. We'll fix that on the next draft. Anyway, I'm done for the day, so I will check in later. Good afternoon! It is Wednesday, July something. The 29th. It has to be the 29th. I ran a few errands this morning. I went and did absentee voting for the primary on the 4th because we are possibly going to be out of town. Not sure, so getting it out of the way. And picked up holds at the library, returned stuff. I also went thrifting. I found some really cute 100% linen overalls that actually fit me. I love them, and they're like this rust red, gorgeous. And I also found some vintage high-waisted denim shorts. Not certain about those entirely. I think I need to wear them around for a little bit before deciding whether they're right to keep or not. And then I also found this really pretty full skirt that's linen and rayon, and even the lining is cotton. The lining is cotton. Too many linings, even on like linen, rayon, cotton skirts. Too many linings are polyester. Anyway, so that was my morning and afternoon, and now it is 1:45. I have some coffee, and I have a couple chapters that I need to revise. I want to get through chapters 49 and 50 today, so that then tomorrow I can work on 52, and Friday I can work on 53, and then we're done. I don't think that's how it's actually going to play out, because 52 is going to be like 100% new content, so I don't think that will work very well. I don't think I'll be able to get all of that done tomorrow, especially because I'm still trying to figure out what is going to happen in that chapter. Like, I have a general idea, but it's going to take a while, and I'm not sure if I will have all the time that I need to complete that. And then Friday, I will be hanging out with my friend in the afternoon, so that doesn't give me a lot of time to work on stuff, because we usually spend most of the time talking. Or, yeah, no, we spend most of the time talking. And also I'm working on my laptop as opposed to my desktop, so I would have to transfer all my files, blah, blah, blah. I don't really want to do that for any video editing or book revisions or anything like that. I don't want to have to transfer files. It's so annoying. So, with that in mind, I need to get to work. It is almost 2 o'clock, and I have a book to work on. I have a book to finish. I'm so close, guys. I'm so close, and I'm so excited. No, like, this is hardly an amazing book, but it is good, and I am confident in what it is overall. I will say I'm not, like, super excited about it the way I was at the start of this draft, but I'm also not hating it like I was in the middle of the draft, and I'm not having to force my way through it like I was in the middle of the draft. So this is like a realistic version of how I should feel about this book. Like, I feel good about it. I am happy with the progress that I've made. I'm so proud of the progress I've made. There's still so much work to be done, but I am at a point where I definitely need someone else's eyes, and I need someone to talk back and forth with. I need that brainstorming. This is what critique partners are best for. Anyway, I am going to dive into chapter 49. I just finished chapter 50. There is definitely still more work that needs to be done there, but again, that's work that I know I can't really get to until I talk to my critique partner and work out some of the kinks. It's just kind of, parts of it are really good, and then there are parts of it where I'm like, okay, but what if I changed this thing and I'm not sure if that's the right decision yet? But it's done. I have 3 chapters left. And everything that's left is the denouement. We are at the resolution. There is not much left. This was the end of the climax. So that is so exciting. It is, I have so many feelings. And I really want to work on the next chapter. It is 4:30 now, and I might have time, assuming there are not a whole lot of changes to it. I think I'm good. I think I mostly have a few small tweaks. And, it's 2,000 words. That could take me no more than half an hour, which I'm okay with fitting that in now. I would prefer to do that. So I'm at least going to try. Okay. I got those 2 chapters done today. Very excited about that progress. I have 2 chapters left. My word count is now at, I was supposed to leave it on the thing, 127,336 words. That's where we're at word count wise. There are 2 chapters left. The next chapter I have to write completely brand new. No idea how long to expect that to be. That one's probably going to be pretty rough, and I'll have to revise it, immediately. And then the final chapter is hovering around 3,000 words. That might get more or less. I don't know. So this will absolutely break 130,000 words, which is crazy, but very exciting. I'm so happy. So I have 2 chapters and 5 scenes, 2 in the next one and 3 in the last one. This is huge. This is so huge. I'm very excited. I will get done what I can tomorrow, but Sam and I will hopefully be recording our first podcast episode, the one about Frankenstein, but my plans on Friday are no longer my plans. My friend had to cancel. She has to work on stuff for her job. So we will reschedule later, and that means I have more time to finish this draft on Friday. So if I don't get as much done tomorrow, I have time to make up for that on Friday. And also, the next chapter is the one that will need a bunch of work because it's the one that is a brand new scene, 2 brand new scenes. The final chapter, at least as far as I'm aware, doesn't need a whole lot of work. In fact, I think that final scene is one that I have labeled as not really needing much of any work. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see when I actually get there if I feel that those assessments from way long ago are correct. Because there have been plenty of chapters, plenty of scenes where I'm like, oh, that's not going to be that hard, and then what do you know, it is. So we'll see when we actually get there. And what I need to focus on for now is the next chapter that will need the most work and prepping for the podcast recording. That is my day. That's how it's gone. I will probably not check in tonight. I'll just be going over stuff for the podcast recording. And that's going to be my evening. Good afternoon. It is Thursday, July 30th. I'm supposed to be recording a podcast episode with Sam today. I did reach out to her and say, hey, could we postpone that because I'm kind of freaking out and so unprepared. We have postponed this multiple times, generally for like scheduling reasons more than anything else. But things got delayed, and I have been so hyper focused on working on this draft that I've barely prepared anything, and I feel like a mess. So we might be getting together to do a sort of test run, which is probably the best thing to do, and something we should be doing before actually recording anything. That feels smart. And once the school year starts, we should be able to plan stuff a little bit better because my schedule will be more available. I believe hers will be as well, but we'll see. I did finally finish reading one of the books for it, though, which took freaking forever. So, I'm trying to work on chapter 52, which is crazy. It's crazy I'm that far. 2 chapters. I'm trying to work on chapter 52 to get it, I don't know, to figure out what I'm going to write. Because this is one of the ones where all of this chapter is brand new. I have a general idea of what I want to happen in this, but it's not specific enough. And the scenes that I write will probably be really rough. And I'll have to revise them, like, immediately after figuring out what I need to happen here. Or it just winds up being really short in this draft, which is totally fine because the whole book needs more work. It's okay if these scenes are messy and not great. We'll make them better later. I don't really anticipate getting through both of the scenes today. My general expectation is to get through one of them, and then tomorrow I do the other and go through the scenes in the final chapter. That's my expectation. We'll see how this actually plays out, though. Oh, and Tanya and Cynthia are doing a challenge next month and the following month for August and September. That's just like a generally supportive, like lifting each other up while working on a project type of thing. And that's exciting. I think once I finish this draft, I will need that kind of encouragement because I am probably not going to know what to do with myself for a little bit. It's going to be weird to not even be able to work on this. So yeah, there's my update for the morning, except it's not morning anymore. I'll check it later. Probably spiders in there, realistically.
Does this lend me credibility when you do it like this?
Yes. Okay, but it also tells me, like, what shelves I need to make sure to make look nice. So, mostly these two. Because, yeah, that will help.
That's a good idea. Well, that's fine.
Yes. This is just an example.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know if that looks like anything. It's hard to tell. It's a tiny little screen. And I could grab my phone because I can connect it.
Yeah, you can see them. It's like right between our heads.
Right. Yeah. It's just, does it look good or does it look like clutter? And I don't know. It has a decent thing, so it's picking up audio now. Mm-hmm. And then it comes with only one. So the option would be to, like, set it up before us, or I have my other mics that connect to my phone, and we could have our own. That's probably not that bad.
Oh, we can.
See, and now it's got the green across the top there.
Oh, that shows it, like, registering as talking. Hello! If I get really loud, does it go bigger? Is that
yes. Hello! See, it gets into orange.
So what's the goal? In the middle?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it usually hovers around here when I'm talking, and that's, I usually have it on my person or I'm holding it. This is probably decent. Okay, it is late Thursday night. My kids just went to bed, so I wanted to check in. Sam came over and we tested out some different stuff, figured out more how we wanted to run everything, how we want to get it organized. And we have a date planned for the actual recording. It is not as soon as we would like, but our schedules, until school starts, we really don't have a whole lot of time to schedule this sort of thing. So we've got that planned, and we have time to finish getting everything organized and doing all of that. And that was most of my day. I did not really get much writing done. I did do a little bit of research for the scene that I need to write. So now I have tomorrow, and tomorrow is the last day of July, and the last day of this week, and I will be working on the final 2 chapters. I'm going to try to spend most of my day working on stuff, and hopefully I'm able to finish it. As long as I can get through chapter 52, chapter 53 should not be difficult. So it will be kind of nice to end on an easy note, but also it's nice to start on an easy note too. So the fact that I have to start with a new chapter, 2 brand new scenes, is more intimidating. Anyway, it is 10:30 now, so I'm going to relax and watch some TV and play more of my video game. Right now I'm playing Tamagotchi Life, which is something that my friend showed me. I'd been seeing it everywhere. Let's be realistic. It was kind of everywhere on social media. At least in YouTube groups and stuff, I was seeing a lot of oh, I made this person and I made this person. And I made all my characters from my books, or most of them. There are quite a few characters I haven't made yet. And I'm still debating whether I want to. But the main ones are there, and they're all so cute. So, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. And I will see you guys in the morning for the final day. Good morning! I was wanting to film my morning clip outside on my deck, but apparently it's raining right now, so here we are. This is the last day of July. It is Friday. It is the 31st, and I still have 2 chapters to write. Well, 1 to write and 1 to revise. I did not get to work on chapter 52 at all yesterday. I was too anxious in the morning and could only think about the podcast stuff. And then she was here and we were working on it, so I wasn't able to focus on anything else. But we had a good session planning stuff out and figuring out how we want to do stuff and scheduling when we're going to actually record. So we have that all sorted out. It'll still be a little bit, but it is what it is. And now it's time to actually get down to finishing this draft. I have 2 scenes to write for chapter 52, and that's really what I need to focus on. And then after that, chapter 53 will probably be a lot easier. I don't think it will be very difficult. Hopefully. So I am going to drink my lemon water and reread the previous chapter to get my head in the right headspace. And let's finish a book today. Okay, the order of events for the final chapters for the resolution have been bugging me. They've been bugging me since I was working on the outline for this draft. So I think I decided what I want, but that does mean I need to completely revise the previous chapter again, which, to be fair, I didn't make a whole bunch of tweaks to it when I worked on it on Wednesday, but I need to change stuff, and I need to change the order of some stuff that has happened in it. So, it's fine. Everything's fine. We're good. We're just creating more work for ourselves, but that means it's work I don't have to do later. So, yeah. And it'll be better like this. I will actually be happy with how it turns out. Something about the version of events as it is now, it just doesn't quite work. There's something off about how things play out. And this will definitely make it better. This will definitely help. So, yeah, I read chapter 51 and went, this is still bugging me. And I thought I could work through it and figure out the issue later. But no, I need to address it now. I need to fix it now. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm going to make some adjustments to chapter 51 and then start on chapter 52. It's a little afternoon now. I just took a quick break to have a snack and got some coffee. And I was able to finish redoing that second half of chapter 51. And now I'm going to work on chapter 52. I did already get started before I took my quick break. I'm about 200 words in, and it's going. It is going a little better than I expected, a little easier than I expected. We're just gonna keep writing and keep working on it and finish this book. I'm getting so close. I'm so anxious. One chapter left. One chapter. That one is a little on the short side. It is actually the shortest chapter in the book, which will probably not be true by the time I get to the end of the book, but for now it's the shortest, and that's fine. It will probably expand some in the next draft, purely because this is a rough draft for that scene, for that whole chapter, basically. So, all I have left is the final chapter. There are not a whole lot of changes left, but this first scene will probably have a little bit more, because I want to adjust, it starts off with Billy and Xander being in the kitchen, but I want to switch it to being in the bedroom. So I'm going to switch the starting location of this scene, but aside from that, not much else will change. So, yeah, I'm going to get into it. I'll have to pause here in 15 minutes to feed the cats lunch. But aside from that, I just have to work through these final scenes and this final chapter, and then we're done. Guys, it's done. It is 132,000 words long, which is, more than 30,000 words longer than any of the other books. But, it's done. It's done. It's done. Right now, all I have to do is look over a few things, tweak whatever I want to tweak, and then I get to work on something else for a while. And I'm not sure what that will entail. But I know I will also just enjoy the fact that I get to relax for a little while and not really focus on anything big. I am at the point where I am very excited about this project, but not hyper focused on it in the same way that I was when I started this draft, which is probably like the healthy way to go about it, but my brain doesn't always work in the healthy way, so yay. So, final stats. This is 132,196 words. A little bit longer if I include the epigraph, but that's not in this word count. It's in the Scrivener word count, though. It is 53 chapters and 91 scenes, and it's done. It is really exciting to be at the point where I know there will not be a whole lot of changes to this in the future. This is going to get tweaked and updated and changed so many times, but all of the big changes, like the major changes, most of those are done. What's left is primarily line edits, getting this to not just have the storyline that I want, but also have the wording be good. I desperately need to improve the prose and still add in little bits of stuff, because I know there are a lot of things where it's like, okay, this whole storyline, I need to emphasize it more, and that'll just be like a line here and there, but that will make a world of difference. I will probably make another video after I've had a chance to go through things and tweak whatever last bits I want to tweak, and maybe talk about everything about this draft. But that's not this video. This video is a vlog, and that's it. That's the end of the vlog. We're done. That's the end of the draft. I'm so happy right now. And it took me longer than I wanted. It's the end of July as opposed to mid-July, but it's done. We did it. We did it. I'll see you guys in the next one.